such a pleasure to be back here in India and in Mumbai this morning. And every time I've come back to India, the thing that grabs me the most is the ingenuity, the creativity, the energy, the opportunity, and the rate of progress I see, even just between my trips. And to me, today we're going to talk a lot about technology. In fact, it's all going to be about our cloud. But it's not really about celebrating the technology we create. It is about celebrating what all of you are doing with the cloud technology. It starts for us from our mission. Our mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more has a deep sense of meaning for us. These are not just a set of words, but for us, they're at the center of how we think about our innovation agenda. We think about people, but we also equally think about the institutions people build to outlast them. We think about this at a global scale. In fact, I'm a product of Microsoft technology reaching me where I was growing up. And my entire story is an outgrowth of that. So I always keep that in front and center for me. But perhaps most importantly, it is what others go on to do with this technology. Whether it's a student writing a term paper, a small business driving productivity, a large business becoming more competitive, or a public sector organization becoming more efficient. That's what we aspire to achieve. That is what we aspire to create. And today, we're going to celebrate a lot of those stories. And it all starts with the investment that we have made 17 months ago in bringing this world-class cloud infrastructure to India. It's a global cloud, it's a trusted cloud, and most importantly, it speaks to the real-world needs with bringing distributed computing in this hybrid fashion to truly shape the digital transformation that's happening all around us. And when you talk about digital transformation, it's fascinating to see the breadth and depth of it. It is shaping every business. It's shaping the public sector, so in some sense, it's not limited to just the private sector. And it is shaping the daily lives of every person in our society. So it's perhaps the broadest impact and the deepest impact technology has ever had. There isn't a walk of life or a sector of the economy that is not fundamentally being transformed by technology. Everybody's business is technology. And that's really the most exciting thing in front of us. What is perhaps interesting in the context of India is for us to be able to use digital technology to go from being digitally poor to digitally rich in all parts of our economy and in all parts of our society. Now, in fact, the best place perhaps to start is to see the entrepreneurial energy with the startups. I had a chance earlier in the week to spend some time in Bangalore talking to many of them. In fact, we announced with Flipkart that they are going to move to use Azure to drive their next level of innovation. I mean, after all, they represent that new generation of Indian entrepreneurs with high ambition to create and reshape industries, and to see them talk about the future of retail and retail formats, logistics, payments. It's fantastic to see both the ambition level, but most importantly, to be able to back it up with innovation. I also have got a chance to meet with an entrepreneur behind transaction analysts. The most amazing thing that I see is the birth of this so-called India stack. The fact that we now have in India over 1 billion people who can be identified in real time has completely brought about a new way to think about innovation in this presenceless, cashless, as well as paperless world. And transaction analysts is essentially taking that India stack into the hands of fair price shops all over the country so that they can transact, use Aadhaar to be identified. So they're using our cloud, but ultimately they're reshaping what it means for a common Indian man to be able to walk into a fair price shop and transact in a friction-free way. I also had a chance to meet another startup that is fundamentally changing both how retailers work and financial services work. Because when you think about going from being data poor to data rich, it applies to, quite frankly, every one of our organizations. We need to be able to bring the silos of information together to be able to then take that next best action. And that's what this startup does, and they're gaining lots of traction with some of the biggest name financial institutions of this country as well as abroad. I also had a chance to meet with an entrepreneur reshaping healthcare. You know, Sangeeta talked very eloquently about what is happening in healthcare because of technology. This entrepreneur is using, again, data as that new natural resource to be able to reshape the diagnostic capability. The fact that an AFib event can be predicted can reshape the cost curve of healthcare. The fact that diabetes can be monitored in a much more real-time way will reshape the curve of healthcare. And all that is because of this new data and AI capability in the cloud being available in a democratized way. So this entrepreneur is able to build on top of all of the rich services we have, focus on that domain of healthcare, and then make it easy for any hospital to be able to deploy these solutions. So it's phenomenal to see the entrepreneurial energy. These are all born in the cloud, digital companies across every sector that are reshaping the Indian economy. Now you could say, well, that's fine for startups to do. Can this change what is really the lifeblood of any country, small and medium businesses? Because if digital technology is only the purview of the large businesses and the startups, I would claim that that's not sufficient for an economy to make progress. So I came across this story of the Mohini Tea Company. They have one factory in Uttar Pradesh, and they source tea from a variety of different places across multiple auctions that the government holds. And the paperwork that was required in order to be able to do that procurement efficiently took weeks. But one of the fundamental changes the cloud has brought about is the productivity, the collaboration, and the communication tools that in the past were only the purview of the largest of businesses are now available to every small and medium-sized businesses at a fraction of the cost. You don't need the IT sophistication, you don't need the capital expense up front, and you can truly use what the largest of enterprises anywhere in the world are using for your business. And that's what they've done. They were able to use, in this case, Office 365 to be able to coordinate, communicate, and bring down the transaction costs of their core business so that they can drive productivity improvements. Now, of course, the large businesses are going through a fundamental digital transformation. In my lifetime, having spent now 25 years in the tech industry, I used to always think that if you have to sort of really see an industry in transformation because of the Moore's law, all you got to do is look around you. But no more. In fact, right in front of our eyes, in the last couple of years, I've seen one of the most amazing transformations of perhaps one of the most storied industries, the auto industry. The bill of materials of a car is going through a sea change. There's going to be more processing power in a car than most computers. There is more data that is going to be collected than most computers. There is more AI that is going to get built into the edge so that the car can do things like inference and prediction, especially with self-driving. And we have seen an amazing set of companies that have come to work with us around the cloud. The Japanese car makers like Toyota, American car makers like Ford, German car makers like BMW have all worked with us to use the cloud. And today I'm really glad to see Tata Motors join the same industry movement. And to see the change that is happening with Tata as they build the ability to collect the data, rendezvous with the cloud, do predictions on top of it, reshape the maintenance, the warranty, but most importantly, the experience of the driver and the passenger. And to me, the auto industry is perhaps really at the forefront of changing even the business model, where the gross margin moves from the thing to the services that every automaker is going to build in to what they build. Continuing on this digital transformation, the other industry that is going through a sea change is the financial sector. Financial services have always been driven by data, but the ability, especially in India, in the context of the India stack, for them to be able to use that most important resource they have, which is data, to be able to create more inclusion in banking, but most importantly, be able to take decisions like credit decisions using data so that there is more people who can benefit from it is phenomenal. But a lot of what is the advanced new products that they create has to though start with how the bank itself works. State Bank of India, of course, is the largest bank in India with over 230,000 employees. And they, being a regulated, very security-conscious, compliance-conscious company, have also decided to move to the cloud. And it's phenomenal to see that transformation where some of the largest of banks are now deciding that they want to be able to take advantage of what the cloud gives them so that they can be more of a technology company. See, this is one of the paradoxes, which is, of course, SBI had a tremendous amount of IT capability, but that IT capability going forward is going to be applied to the core of the banking product they create, not managing a bunch of infrastructure that they did in the past. That notion of getting leverage is going to be super important for every business leader to recognize in their digital transformation. And to me, that is what I see happening in public sector as well. In the state of Andhra Pradesh, Chief Minister Naidu has taken this very bold decision that they're going to be a cloud-first state. As they think about their own investment in digital technology, they are making the choice that they are going to use the scarce state resource in the high leverage activity of serving the citizens of the state while taking advantage of scale economics of the public cloud. And I think that's one of the most enlightened way for governments to be able to really take advantage of infrastructure that is getting built right here in India with digital sovereignty, security, guidelines that the government of India and the state governments put on it, and for them to be able to leapfrog to this new frontier. So this hybrid cloud infrastructure being adopted at such scale by even the public sector is something that is phenomenal and exciting for us to see. In fact, speaking of Andhra Pradesh and some of the work that they're doing, and the Chief Minister will talk about this later on as well, is a new product we built called Kaizala, which in some sense was motivated by what we saw happening in India. Again, as Sangeeta talked about, India being a country where today it is a mobile first, maybe even a mobile only country. So we started observing that perhaps 200 million or so people are doing digital work using email as probably the primary means of doing communications, coordination, collaboration. But there is something like 300 million people in governments and in business who are in fact working, who need information tools, and in many cases use consumer internet services to get work done. But the problem of using a consumer internet service is, whether it's the government or the business, doesn't have that data asset. That data asset is not yours. If you go back and say, well, the data asset is your organizational asset, if in fact most of your own employees are working just using consumer internet services, you are in fact giving away your asset without knowing it. And that is the insight that the Chief Minister had, and he decided to in fact pilot Kaizala as a way to bring in fact all of the departments together, to coordinate activity across all of them, to manage one of the big festivals of Andhra, so that they can maintain law and order, so that they can provide healthcare facilities, so that they can manage logistics. But most importantly, for the government officials to also monitor, have the analytics, have the ability to see the data, secure the data. So that's what has motivated us to build this project. It's a mobile application that's messaging oriented, simple for anyone to use, but most importantly, it is creating a data asset. And now we are seeing it being used in the UP elections. In fact, I had a chance to see Amitabh Kant and Niti Aayog use it yesterday to organize the work of the Niti Aayog itself. We are seeing many financial institutions, fast-moving consumer goods companies, all piloting Kaizala, which is in our preview state today. And we are very, very excited about this innovation because it is born out of this fundamental insight we gained by observing how digital work is transforming in India. Now, that same insight of how India perhaps is reshaping technology is what we're bringing to Skype. The India stack has fundamentally made it possible for India to manage and control their own identity. Because if you think about it, the ultimate dream that Nandan articulated for me, which I had not realized when I met him on Tuesday, was that every Indian citizen should be empowered with their own data so that they can be data rich. And that journey doesn't begin if the identity system of the services that you use is not controlled, not something that is in the service of the Indian citizen. And I think Aadhaar gives India that opportunity. And it also makes it our responsibility as a multinational company to operate in India responsibly by making sure that our services support the India stack. And that's what we're doing with Skype. So with Skype now, we will support Aadhaar identity, which means that you can take any of the services, whether it's B2B services or G2C services, all of those can be managed using Aadhaar identity, but using world-class technology like Skype. And in fact, we're taking it one step further. And today we are announcing that we will launch Skype Lite, where it's going to be a client built for the connectivity speeds in India across 9 different languages with fantastic support for bots and with Aadhaar identity built in. So instead of this being something that you integrate with, it's going to be the fundamental identity system of the messaging client that is going to be available in India for every Indian citizen. So we are very, very excited about what we're doing with Skype and the India stack, and I thought it'll be a great opportunity for us to showcase this with showing you a live demo of both Skype with Aadhaar and Skype Lite for Aadhaar. And to help me, I want to invite up my colleague Soumya Chandra on stage. Soumya?
Good morning. Skype Lite is the new app built for India. It helps you stay connected on the go anytime. Skype Lite was built to chat, share, and connect. Skype Lite makes connecting with people simple by integrating all of your communication experiences into one app. So we have messaging, sharing, calling, and even helping you get things done and stay in the know with bots. And it's really lightweight. It's only 13 MB. Right? Now let me give you a demo of the new Skype for India, Skype Lite. Right? So you see 4 tabs on the top: messages, calling, contacts, and Skype bots. For the important everyday scenario of messaging, we have a very simple, easy-to-use feature that allows you to move between your Skype messages and your mobile messages. So all my Skype chat and my SMS are in one place. We even have a built-in filter to help you manage that SMS clutter. This uses machine learning. Looks like I have a missed call from Rahul. I'll call him later. Skype Lite also has bots. Bots help you to get things done and be more productive. Now, if I want to know what's happening in the world of my favorite sport, cricket, I don't need to go open a different app. I can ask the MSN bot right here, and there you go. Right? It has some news from cricket for me. Right? So I get all the latest cricket news and happening right here in this app. Another useful feature that I want to highlight in the Skype Lite app is the data manager. Using the data manager, I can track my data usage anytime, and that helps me save money. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my call with Rahul, and he will show you another very important part of the Skype Lite app. Hi, Rahul.
Hey, Soumya. Good morning, everybody. In this ever-changing economy, everybody is looking forward to move fast with their professional projects. And Skype Lite can help with the most important scenario, the job interview. If I want to hire someone quickly, I would feel more comfortable interviewing the candidate, knowing that I am indeed talking to the right person. With Skype Lite, not only can I establish a video call, but also verify the identity of the candidate in the same call within seconds using Aadhaar. I'm going to initiate Aadhaar verification request from my side, and Soumya can choose to accept or cancel. She will then punch in her Aadhaar number and receive an OTP, which will be verified by the Aadhaar service. And I get back a notification with her Aadhaar summary. Yep, we have a match. Everything looks great. Let's just continue with the interview. One thing worth mentioning is after the call terminates, all the Aadhaar verification data is completely erased from my device. And it's that simple to validate someone's identity using Skype Lite. Bye, everybody. Bye, Soumya.
Thanks, Rahul. This was just a quick summary of some of the cool features that we've built into the Skype Lite app. Please download it today from Google Play Store and let us know what you think. We're looking forward to that feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Soumya. So that's another example of an innovation where the India stack is driving, in fact, our innovation agenda. So I wanted to now talk about perhaps one of the other pressing needs in digital transformation. When we think about technology, we cannot just stop with the enablement of large businesses or urban populations. We need to be able to take what we're doing and really make sure that that same access is available in every rural community. And right here in Maharashtra, thanks to the Chief Minister's initiative, they took perhaps one of the more backward regions of the state, a group of 32 villages, and decided to run a pilot to, in fact, just not celebrate some technology or connectivity, but to make sure that the entire ecosystem can come together to help move the GDP of that local area, move the human development index of that local area. And this project in Harisal is something that Microsoft, along with many others, are contributing to. And again, it's amazing to see the initiative of the government of Maharashtra to bring this together. There is new technology around connectivity. We contributed some of the white spaces technology that we are big proponents of, because we are believers in the lowest cost connectivity solutions that are deployed by, in fact, Indian entrepreneurs to solve its own connectivity challenges. We are also funding some new companies that are bringing affordable solutions and affordable connectivity solutions, and one such grantee was Air Jaldi, who was part of this experiment and project. But connectivity is the first step. What happens after that connectivity? In a rural area, animal husbandry and education around animal husbandry is important. So there was a university that had the content that made it possible for people to get trained on that. They connected every school with computers, but most importantly, again, made sure that there was a curriculum that made sense for education there. They were able to connect remote healthcare. In fact, an eye institute in Hyderabad was monitoring people in this group of villages for their eye care. That coming together of the entire ecosystem is already showing the type of progress that the Chief Minister envisioned, whether it's infant mortality, whether it's education rates, everything around the Human Development Index, as well as local entrepreneurship. Because that's what needs to happen. Ultimately, it is about being able to measure the success of these technologies in creating economic opportunity and growth in the area where these technologies are being deployed. And so we are very, very excited about this project, and in fact, we're looking forward to the next phase of this, where we take it to 100+ villages. And we had a great conversation yesterday with even the IT Minister of India, who is very keenly looking at this and wants to be able to scale it even across the country. And so I wanted you to take a look at a video and see this in action. Please roll the video. And you'll hear from the Chief Minister himself about his own dreams and ambitions for how he wants to scale this project, and broadly how he's thinking about digital technology really having an impact right here in Maharashtra. I want to move next to perhaps one of the most pressing challenges of the Indian economy and the Indian society: skills and jobs. We are very excited about LinkedIn. LinkedIn as part of Microsoft, our dream has always been to be able to take the world's biggest professional network and connect it with the professional cloud and make it possible for every professional in the world to be able to realize their economic opportunity. Because ultimately, that's the goal of LinkedIn. That feedback loop from where are the jobs, what are the skills required for those jobs, and then have that inform each one of us, our learning agenda, our learning plans, so that we are continuously getting better and better in acquiring those skills that are then going to give us a more of an economic opportunity going forward. So in the white-collar space, we feel that with LinkedIn, across the globe, right here in India, with over 39 million members, we're showing rapid progress. That feedback loop, in fact, in LinkedIn, we released this data where in every city, we have that economic graph. Where are the jobs? What are the skills required? And then what is the current set of skills and the gaps, and how LinkedIn Learning can in fact help bridge that skill gap so that more people can realize their economic opportunity. And so we are very, very excited about that. We're now taking that to the next step, where the LinkedIn team in India is creating a set of products right here based on the market needs. The first product, of course, is again LinkedIn Lite, which is the flagship app available for your phones so that it performs on all connectivity contexts. It's really fast. It works on 2G. It's 4 times faster than what the original LinkedIn client was. So it's fantastic to see it more accessible to every professional on every phone with any connectivity. We're also taking the business solutions. If you look at the power of LinkedIn, LinkedIn's power is not just for the member, but it's also for the business to build their brand, to be able to hire and retain employees. In fact, my fun thing to do with any CEO I meet is to show them their LinkedIn graph of the inflows and the outflows. That wakes up every CEO, especially the outflows. And to be able to take that and now make it possible for any organization to use it in India with this starter pack. So for hiring, talent management, for marketing and brand building, as well as sales to business. So it's perhaps the most critical and yet simple, powerful business system that you can deploy. We also recognize that being able to create a more efficient way, a more democratized way for the new college grads to find placement is one of the challenges in India. And so this placements product helps any student graduating from any college, not just the colleges that have already a reputation that acts as a filter. Because if you think about India's challenge, it is about being able to take any college graduate and have them realize their potential based on who they are versus the college they attended. And what placements does is it flattens that. Because you can do your assessment, you can make sure that the people, the prospective employers know you for who you are and what you're capable of, not by some brand of some reputation that's going to be there for you for life. And that democratization is what placement strives to do, and I think it's a very needed solution to be able to create employment opportunity for every college grad in India, and we are very, very excited about the progress we are seeing. Now, of course, you could say, just doing this for people graduating with college degrees or people who are white-collar workers and professionals is not really a complete solution for what is India's challenge. We now need to extend this to middle skill and low skill and vocational training and the job opportunities for everyone. And so we are extending the work and what we have learned with LinkedIn, where this feedback loop or the closed loop between where are the jobs, what are the skills required, and then how do we prepare people for those jobs, and bringing it to this next level using Project Sangam. Again, Project Sangam was born because of what we observed uniquely in India and India's needs. It is perhaps in fact, it is the first project that is now the coming together of LinkedIn and Microsoft, where we are building this cloud service with deep integration with LinkedIn so that we can start tackling that enormous challenge in front of us of how to provide every person in India the opportunity to skill themselves for the jobs that are going to be available. Hospitality is a great example of this. I think hospitality sector is going to employ many people. But at the same time, every company in the hospitality sector will want them skilled to a set of standards. Any trainer with that skill training can pour their content into Project Sangam, and anyone can then take that training, get the skills they need, and apply for the jobs. And so essentially creating what we now have for white-collar workers for any semi-skilled worker, middle-skilled worker. And so it's really exciting to see this come to fruition, and this is something that we're going to scale in the coming year, but we wanted you to have a chance to see a demo of all this at work. Again, I wanted to invite up on stage Saumya, but first we'll roll the video and then Saumya will come and show you a demo. Let's roll the video.
ജോലിയിലൊന്നും നടക്കില്ല സർ. മിനിമം ഒരു സാലറി ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു 10-12 കിട്ടിയെന്ന് വെച്ചാലൊന്നും ഈ സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ ജീവിക്കാൻ വരാൻ തോന്നുന്നില്ല. ജോലി തന്നെയാണ് ഇപ്പോഴും എപ്പോഴുള്ള സ്വപ്നം.
కొంతమంది ఆడపిల్లలు బయటికి వెళ్ళలేక జస్ట్ ఇంట్లోనే ఉండి జాబ్స్ చేయలేక
ജോലി അന്വേഷിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ഇതുപോലെ പത്രത്തിലോ
ജോബ് ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റീസ് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ ഏറ്റവും നല്ല ഓപ്ഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മൊബൈൽ യൂസിംഗ് തന്നെയാണ്. ജോലി കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. മുമ്പ് ജോലി ചെയ്തത് പഠിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടായിരുന്നു.
പഠിപ്പ് നല്ലതാണ്, കാരണം ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ കാലത്ത് നമുക്ക് കൂലിപ്പണി ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. പഠിപ്പിനാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ വില, എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് ജീവിക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ.
I'm excited to introduce Project Sangam, a cloud-hosted platform that uses Azure services and the power of LinkedIn to bring together an integrated solution for skilling and employment. The Sangam platform can scale to support the needs of any government or skill training organization. Today, I'll walk you through 3 key candidate experiences on the Sangam platform. onboarding securely and seamlessly with Aadhaar, learning on the go, and finding relevant jobs. Right. I'm using a dummy ID here to register. I'm signing in with OTP, but we also support biometric options. I'm going to register Pankaj, a candidate who's looking for jobs in the hospitality sector. By the way, this uses the Microsoft Aadhaar Praman service, right? So I punch in details about Pankaj, right? And we're in some personal details, a little bit about educational qualification. We also, candidates have the option to create a LinkedIn profile upfront on registration. This helps us provide job recommendations to them later. Right? So we have consented on Pankaj's behalf. Right. And since he's interested in hospitality, I'm going to go and pick F&B, the food and beverage sector. All right. So these are the courses that he was auto-enrolled in based on the choice of sector that I made. You'll also see courses from LinkedIn Learning. These are additional courses that are provided to Pankaj to further improve his work and life skills. Right. So India is the mobile-first country. We all know that. 71% of the country accesses internet only via mobile. So learning on the go is a very important scenario for us, which is why we have the Project Sangam app. Up front, you can see in the Learn pivot, there are the courses that Pankaj was auto-enrolled in. Let's take a look. So this is the course outline for food and beverage. I can go and download this course for later. And then my downloaded lessons are available for offline viewing even when there is no internet access. Candidates also get personalized job recommendations from LinkedIn via SMS alerts and in this app itself. So in this app, let's look at the job pivot. The jobs you see here are based on Pankaj's skill profile. In this case, he's interested in hospitality, so those are the jobs that you will see. And of course, we also take in care the salary and location preference. When there is a good match, we also share the candidate details with the employer. Now, if Pankaj is interested in a certain job, he can get more information on LinkedIn as well. This opens up LinkedIn Lite, which Satya talked about. This is very lightweight and fast, and you saw it came up in a jiffy. It's designed to work on slow and metered internet connections. Right, so this is how Project Sangam brings together skilling and employment into one platform and makes it really simple. We are currently in private preview. Do reach out to us if you're interested in participating in the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much again, Soumya. We're very excited, as I said, about taking what we have learned and what we are doing with LinkedIn and now tackling this next level of a challenge of middle skill and low skill workers and having the same efficiency in upskilling and ultimately finding jobs. Because that's really the real test of any system, which is more economic opportunity being created? I want to close with another amazing story that I came across as I was preparing to come to India. In fact, this story starts in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with a gentleman by the name Bill Thies. He was studying at MIT. He did his undergrad, his grad, and got a PhD at MIT. And he was always inspired by how can technology have impact on people's lives, in particular, people in the low income category. And he decided that Cambridge, Massachusetts, and MIT, although intellectually very stimulating, was not going to teach him the real lessons that he aspired to learn. So he moved to India. He started working in Microsoft Research in Bangalore, found a set of colleagues in Microsoft Research, and together they went on this journey to learn about what is it that are the fundamental challenges of people in this country who are living at poverty or below poverty line. What are some of the core challenges that technology can help in alleviating some of that pain? And in fact, he's been recognized just this year as a MacArthur Fellow, and a MacArthur Genius Award was given to him for the kinds of work and the kinds of solutions he went about building. And one particular project of his is what inspired me. Today in India, over 300,000 people die still because of tuberculosis. And that tragedy is even more of an issue for any one of us, is because there is medicine to cure it. And it's in fact cheaply available, subsidized even by the government. Except there's one problem, which is the person impacted with tuberculosis has to go through a 6-month regimen of taking those tablets regularly with close monitoring. The logistics challenge, the economic challenge of someone who's living below poverty line to be able to go to some other monitoring booth in the station, take their medicine, may mean that their livelihood is compromised. And so Bill and team came up with this very ingenious solution where they said, as you go away with the tablets that you're supposed to take, the only thing you need to do is after each tablet, just make one phone call. That's going to be the difference between your life and death, one phone call. And so given the proliferation of phones in India, right, it's not even internet connectivity, just a phone call. They came up with an algorithm that generated in a random way these unique phone numbers that they needed to call for every tablet. And that, in a sense, is a computer bit. That's good enough for a cloud solution to be able to, in fact, have all the analytics around that one patient's drug regimen and their adherence to that drug regimen. So that means the medical practitioner, coordinator now has the rich analytics, and they can monitor the patient's drug intake and notify them. If they miss a dosage, intervene, call them, send notifications. So it's a fantastic way, ultimately, for a simple solution for the patient, a powerful yet simple solution for the medical community to change lives, to save lives. To me, all digital transformation starts and stops right there. We can celebrate technology, but if it doesn't truly empower every Indian and every Indian organization to achieve more, to come up with the solutions that are going to educate the youth of India, find economic opportunity for the vocationally trained Indian, make it possible for the healthcare system in India to save every life, for the technology to help every Indian business and every government organization to become more efficient, more productive, and really move this economy forward, we would have achieved nothing. And so therefore, our mission will always be to empower you so that you go on to change the world. Thank you all very, very much, and Sangam.